Coding whole class or large group dialogue. Whilst we tend to think of whole class and classroom as referring to school-age learners, these ideas can be applied in a wide range of large group discussions, including with adult and older learners. Whole class dialogue is used frequently in teaching and learning. For example, in setting up an activity, establishing ground rules, planning a project, considering new information and ideas, and discussing shared experiences. It is usually expected that all students will listen and actively contribute in some way during whole class discussion. However, it's impossible to notice everything that's going on during the usual fast pace of whole class discussion. Taking a step back and considering what you want to observe and how you're going to do it can help you to focus and carry out an effective inquiry. For example, it's best to only focus on one or two codes during an inquiry so that you don't have too much to listen for at the same time. Have a look at the other T-SEDA video guides for more information about how to carry out an inquiry. There are several methods for coding dialogue. It could be as simple as tallying when you hear a particular sort of dialogue, to analysing the transcript of a recording. One thing to consider is whether you will code by observing and recording dialogue live, or whether you will record it, video or audio, and code it later. With each method, there are advantages. Observing students live allows you to see what they are doing and record their body language as well. No specialist equipment is required for this method. With audio transcription, you're able to pause the recording to think as required and replay any segments. You can also add additional codes at different times. Video transcription allows you to represent non-verbal observations, pause the recording, and introduce additional codes. It's also important to consider the disadvantages of both live coding and recording. Live observation can be demanding as it requires you to listen and code at the same time. You could miss some of the dialogue, and there is no ability to replay it. Audio recording is more time-consuming exercise, and the lack of video means you need to identify speakers from their voices. This isn't such an issue when using video recordings, but you also need to consider collecting consents for each student and that it may take some time for the students to get used to being recorded. You also need to consider using appropriate equipment, if available. Coding dialogue can be challenging, but you can make it easier through team teaching, focusing on a specific context and a short time period, linking closely to your inquiry focus, and setting times for review and evaluation of any changes observed. The following activity requires you to be familiar with 3 codes. In a moment, we'll play a video of a maths lesson. See if you can identify examples of make reasoning explicit, invite reasoning, and challenge that you feel would be productive for learning. There's only one instance of challenge in this particular clip, so see if you can spot it.
And I want us to put them on our number line. This number line says 0 kilograms and 1 kilogram. So we're going to come up and stick them on our number line where we think they go. So my first one is 300 grams. Who thinks they know where that might go on my number line? Oh yeah. Can you explain why you've put it where you've put it? Would it be helpful to mark on halfway? Pop on halfway then. How much could we be really specific about where 300 grams could go? Matthew?
If you predicted it, 300 grams per 500 as on 6, then it would be 0 kilograms. So it would be further, I think it would be further along.
So you're disagreeing with where it's going at the moment? You'd like it moved closer to 500? You agree?
Now you've watched this with a view to coding for these codes, consider how you might create opportunities for productive forms of reasoning and challenge in your own practice.